Just like his belly, Ralph's rogue gallery is large and ever growing. You could be his friend one day and his death enemy the next, and very few people understand this like Nick Rekieta. Nick Rekieta is the host of the YouTube channel Rekieta Law, and who I believe would be the Riddler to Ralph's Batman. It's a channel that explains the legal proceedings of popular cases such as the Amber Heard vs. Johnny Depp and more. Rekieta's first video came out on November 16, 2017, where he talked about the court case between Dick Masterson and his ex-friend Maddox, both from the podcast The Biggest Problem in the Universe. This case has nothing to do with Rekieta, but I can still tell you that that case was all due to Maddox being called a cuck. Most videos that Rekieta uploaded at the beginning of his YouTube career to this day fail to break the 10,000 views mark. Until Rekieta made a video on Domino's suing a YouTuber that fixed up one of their old cars.
Quick rundown on this Sam Crack case. If you're not familiar, check out Sam Crack's channel on YouTube. He restores cars. And what he has done is he has purchased a Domino's DXP pizza car that was totaled. He purchased it in from salvage for something like $500. And he restored it on his channel for his fans.
This video currently has more than 4 times the views at all other videos before it, with the exception of the 3 lol suit videos. Rekieta then later got to go on to Ralph's at the time popular show The Kill Stream on July 16, 2018, after making a successful Chris Chan video just 3 days prior. And for the next few months, both Ralph and Rekieta started to blow up in fame. On September 29, 2018, Ralph hosted the Heel Stream, and on May 16, 2022, I talked about this in another video. Ralph might have had a lengthy criminal history, including assaulting a police officer, disorderly conduct, and more, but he wasn't all bad. On September 29, 2018, Ralph hosted what he called the Heel Stream, a live stream where all donations and money made would go directly to the St. Jude's Children's Hospital, a non-profit children's research hospital that focuses on children with leukemia and other cancers. St. Jude's doesn't charge families of the children staying there a cent, and even goes as far to pay for their travel and food expenses, all sustained by donations. Raising over $26,000 American in a nearly 7-hour stream featuring 21 guests, the Heel Stream was an absolute success by any sense of the word. Nick was one of the many guests on the Heel Stream, and then got almost 50,000 views on a video about Comicsgate the next day. Rekieta really started gaming steam again, talking about both the quartering case, where a fellow YouTuber was assaulted in a bar and pressed charges, suing the attacker, as well as the Vic Mignogna vs. Funimation case, where Vic was wrongfully fired from the dubbing company Funimation. Then, they slandered his name at the same time, having him barred from conventions and then threatening conventions that took him on. And with internet blood sports in full swing coming up towards the Andy Worski fight, Rekieta had seemingly assumed the role of internet blood sports lawyer, putting him on the same team as Andy Worski, Ralph, Mr. Metoker, Dick Masterson, and everyone else in the extended cast. Then, in January 2019, they completely diverted the paths that they were on. Soon Rekieta would have a minimum of 30,000 views on his videos, an average of 50,000 views, and an all-time high of 266,000. Meanwhile, Ralph was dealing with people calling him the Gunt, getting kicked off YouTube, and the ramifications of the Pill Stream, where Ralph got so belligerently drunk on his livestream, washing it down with a bottle of Xanax and accidentally recording himself arguing with his mom when she asked him to drive her to a doctor's appointment the morning after having passed out during the stream.
Ethan!
What?
Get up!
Okay, I'm getting up.
You're not getting up.
What's happening?
9 o'clock.
In the morning?
Yeah.
Okay, I swear.
You better take the dialysis.
It's not true. I said it's not even hot outside. Oh, God damn, either fucking call you an Uber, how about that? Okay, well then grab me a river. You either get a ride from me or you'll hitchhike.
Unlike almost everyone else, Rekieta had stuck around with Ralph for a very long time, and even defending him during the revenge porn case, where Ralph sent his girlfriend at the time, Faith Vickers' ex-boyfriend, a sex tape of the two of them during one of his live streams.
So the other day, Ethan Ralph of the Kill Stream posted what could be described as either a sex tape or an atrocity, depending on your perspective. But what people are asking is, did he violate Virginia's laws about revenge porn? Well, let's take a look at the law and the facts and see if we can apply them and figure it out.
No matter how cool the two of them seemed to be for years, nothing could stop what Ralph saw as an unforgivable betrayal from Rekieta on September 29th, 2021. In fact, Ralph used a lot of energy dedicated to his response.
If I shit myself, I would tell you motherfuckers. I'd probably make more money off shitting myself. I might pull down my fucking pants and shit all over the place today. Do they really know what the fuck it is I'm doing? I don't give a fuck about being hated. I don't give a fuck about you talking your shit. I get paid either way. Do you think I would give a fuck? I wouldn't. That's the difference between me and a fraud like Nick Rekieta.
Ralph would continue to holler about Nick Rekieta and even calling his kids a brood of retards.
Nick said he wouldn't let May watch his kids. Bitch, nobody wants to watch your fucking brood of retards anyway. But that's the type of shit he said about my fiance 3 months before we met in person.
I could honestly stretch this video out to 20 minutes by showing all the clips of Ralph screaming that day, but instead I'll save us some time and just show the highlights.
That's what they say about you. They say you share your wife. They talk about you whoring out your own wife to a black man. That's what they talk about with you. You fuck with me and I'm fucking with you. That's my fucking word, Rekieta. Fake lawyer ass bitch.
Like always, Ralph saw it okay to make fun of somebody else's family while viewing his own as off limits. Ralph even talked about suing Rekieta and attempting to get him disbarred as a lawyer, calling him countless insults, and just losing his mind over what Rekieta did. But just what was that unforgivable act that Rekieta did for him to respond like this? I mean, for Ralph to lash out like that had to have been something big, right? Well, he laughed at Ralph sharding himself on livestream.
No, Ralph!
That's right. Nick Rekieta laughed at Ralph sharding on a 24-hour livestream, and because of that, Ralph went scorched earth and lost his mind. Nick then explained the whole situation the very next day on a livestream called "You Must Be At Least 5'2" to watch this stream."
No, Ralph! It's muted? Hold on.
And even mentioned that the reason he was seen as gunt guarding was due to him having privileged knowledge on the Faith Vickers revenge porn case.
First things first, you're gonna put $1 in my pocket, both of you. You want attorney-client privilege, don't you? So that everything you say is strictly between us. I mean it. Put $1 in my pocket. Come on, make it official. Come on, do it. That's it, come on.
Someone reaches out to me for some legal help. I provide them some legal help. It's not me that needs protecting in that scenario. It's the person asking for help. What a, oh God, I have literally zero to lose on that.
And for all you anime fans out there, it was actually Nick Rekieta that set up the defense fund for Vic Mignogna after he was falsely accused of multiple sexual allegations due to him being a Christian working for Funimation. Ralph made the accusation that all the money raised was actually pocketed by Rekieta, and this was his response.
I'm tired of acting like I'm not. Fuck off, Rekieta, with your huckster $260,000 scam where you stole from the people. Boy, you think I haven't forgotten?
A man of the people, Ethan Ralph. Ethan Ralph. By the way, since we're going to talk about it, I mean, since he brought it up, let's get the facts right, you fat fucking degenerate. $289,850 scam. How dare you? How dare you undersell this accomplishment, of which I get $0, 0 cents, nothing. I have seen $0 from this. But keep going. If you're gonna bitch at me, get your facts right, you beta bitch. God, what is wrong with you?
On October 23rd, Rekieta showed up to a live stream with his new kitty avatar. But for all you cyber sleuths out there thinking, doesn't that look familiar? Well, you're right. See, this was a still from the video where Ralph got into a fight with another YouTuber named Digibro, after his girlfriend at the time, Amanda, wanted to get her things back from Digibro. Ralph got called 5'1" and lost it, rushing into the house and then fighting Digibro and his friends. So yeah, that's right. Rekieta with Microsoft Paint and a picture of Ralph was able to get him mad again. Then on October 26th, just 3 days later, Rekieta laughed at Ralph letting over 400 of his own viewers get doxxed after his website got hacked and had some colorful but true words to say about him.
David Friesner says, I was one of the Killstream doxed bros. No, David, I haven't talked about this yet. Guys, very big news from Ethan, the fucking moron Ralph. Ethan Ralph just sent out an email to the Killstream.tv subscribers because Killstream.tv has been down for like a fucking week. Whatever. There was a giant security breach, by the way, on Killstream.tv or whatever it is. I don't know what his website actually is. Maybe it's Killstream.tv. I don't know. There's a giant security breach where all of the identities were easily identifiable. And so they've been trying to close that breach, apparently, with the company that Ralph hired to do this. And then Ralph sent out an email. More like 3 weeks. I don't remember. Guys, look, I legitimately don't follow Ralph. I don't know timelines. It's okay. I'm not trying to be precise here. Ralph sent out an email today. And instead of putting all 400 subscribers' emails in the BCC section, he put them in the CC section so they were visible to everybody. Ralph doxed 400 people through incompetence. Ralph, who shits on stream. Ralph, revenge porn aficionado, allegedly. Ralph, who marries pedophile trannies or whatever. Ralph, who can't take a fucking joke from Jay Dyer or anybody else. Fuck you, Ralph. Fuck you.
Not too much happened between the two of them until November 8th. I know, big time gap. When Nick, while still covering the Kyle Rittenhouse case, had gotten a high of 26,000 live viewers in a 9-hour stream where he featured other lawyers alongside him to explain what was going on during the case. When Ralph posted on Twitter seething about how many viewers Rekieta was getting as opposed to him. Huge audience for Rekieta today, congrats. Gonna be a lot easier to find bulls for the wife now. Happy for you. Now, why was Ralph so mad? See, Ralph was also covering the Kyle Rittenhouse case, and most likely would have been brought onto the stream if he didn't go scorched earth on Rekieta. But some people might say that doesn't really make sense, because Rekieta only brought on other experts on the case, or other lawyers onto the stream, right?
We're going to bring some Wisconsin into this stream. We do have Mr.
Nice.
The Quartering.
The legend.
The quartering.
Hello.
Oh, the quartering.
Welcome
What's up,
back.
brother?
Listen,
Right
listen, all you pessimists. Okay, all right,
I
you
thought
got
you were
everybody
Let's hear
down. I'm telling you that this video footage is fine for Kyle, and it's gonna be okay. The defense has 2 bites at the apple, essentially now, thanks to the judge holding off. Let's have some positivity back here.
Amen.
On the trial, I think it's gonna be okay.
On November 16th and 17th, Rekieta literally just brought on the quartering for no reason. And Rekieta was making money too, like thousands a day, like $11,000 in one day. And don't forget, there were points that he was getting over 200,000 live viewers, while Ralph never got above 1,000. By the end, when everything was said and done, Rekieta had gained 150,000 subscribers and $118,000 American in super chats, all in under 3 weeks. Rekieta literally crashed Odyssey, a YouTube competitor, by overloading them with too many people watching a single livestream at the same time. On November 19th, after thanking his chat for donating enough money in one day to buy a Nissan Sentra, aka a car worth just over $20,000 American, Rekieta immediately talked about how he's going to share the money around with the guests that helped make his show so enjoyable.
I want to say this, a huge thank you to the chat. Today is I will consider it for probably a very long time to be the peak performance I will have on YouTube. and there are some people out there who may understand this, but we brought in almost an entire Nissan Sentra worth of super chats today, which is it blows my mind.
That's
I
a nice
appreciate
vehicle.
it. And I will be I know that my panelists have all fielded this question, so I don't have to. But, they do not, there's not like a fee sharing arrangement or anything like that. But I am contemplating how to maybe provide something very nice for all of them, because I appreciate very much how much they elevated this show. Again, it would have just been drunk crying into a microphone for 3 weeks, which would have been embarrassing. And instead we got really, really smart discourse from really, really great people.
Meanwhile, Ralph would only pay his co-host Gator $150 a month, the man who set up nearly every guest that ever showed up on the kill stream, co-hosted almost every day when he was on it, and acted as Ralph's wrangler, keeping him from showing his true colors to the public for years.
Go ahead. Like 2 or 3 years ago, you got into a fight with Gator, and the first thing you hammered him about was how poor he was and how he had to beg you for $300.
That's true, and I apologize for that publicly, Jim.
But it seems like you used him as your financial whipping boy.
I forgot the fucking main question that you were asking, but
that you brought up the financial thing with Gator before, and you treat him like a financial whipping boy.
Gator got thousands of dollars from me, and it's not, you can.
Oh, for the course of years, dude. Come on, it's pretty elfish.
Okay, well, Gator literally has been on the kill stream like maybe 25 times in the last 5 months, 6 months.
What about the last 8 years? The 7 years that you've been doing it.
Well, Gator, and I said this on air before, like Gator's main quality wasn't even his on air necessarily capabilities. It was his institutional knowledge of the kill stream itself, which is even greater than mine, which I've said before. So yeah, I mean that was Gator's main quality. So.
What about his accusation that you had promised Sedan and him $33,000?
I heard that, and I've never actually heard that from him before then, actually.
Did you promise it ever?
No.
You never promised him any YouTube revenue?
I never did, and I heard that, and I was like...
Sedan will never come forward with a story saying that you did?
I don't think so, no.
There are never going to be logs that are going to pop up where that's mentioned?
I don't think so, no. Okay. I know there won't be any contracts that pop up where I says I did, for sure.
In just a month and a half after ditching Ralph, Rekieta had left him in the dust. He was on Sean Hannity. Tucker Carlson mentioned one of his streams being taken down by YouTube, over doubled his own subscriber count, and made more in a single day than Ralph did in months. Ralph is known to read his Kiwi Farms articles, and knowing him, this really pissed him off. On November 20th, Ralph started tweeting about Rekieta again, but this is honestly so boring, I'm not even going to talk about it. So if you really want to see it, you're just going to have to pause the video. Things got pretty quiet for a while. On December 9th, 2021, Rekieta mentioned Ralph's revenge porn case, and best of all, didn't even mention Ralph's name.
There's a particular revenge pornography case out of Virginia, and my original assessment of this was this is a misdemeanor crime. And at the time that I did the assessment, the amount of information available as to if this person had actually done the upload, people on the internet are like, well, yes, this is obvious because X, Y, and Z. And it's like, okay, but for a prosecutor to be able to prove that, you're talking about, potentially tens of thousands of dollars in tech work being done for a misdemeanor crime. And that's not that likely. Now, since I did that video and talked about that, things have changed pretty dramatically, and there's been more apparent cooperation from the victim and stuff like that. And so, that assessment isn't really valid anymore. But people on the internet kind of get this idea that, well, I can see this happen, this happen, this happen, and I can draw logical conclusions. Like, yeah, but just logical conclusions from what you can discern on the internet isn't sufficient for a beyond a reasonable doubt prosecution. And that can take a lot of money when we're talking about digital crimes specifically, tracking down IP addresses. Then you've got to verify that the person was sitting at the computer at some point during that thing. You've got to verify with, you've got to get someone to talk to the cable company to verify that IP address was assigned to that particular location at that time. If there's a router, you may have to go back through the logs of the router and make sure that particular machine was assigned that IP address and not some random person outside on the sidewalk hawking their Wi-Fi.
But then, for a while, things just seemed like they were over. Rekieta talked about how Ralph pleaded no contest to the revenge porn case with Faith, yet at the same time, something was brewing in that shyster lawyer's cauldron. But before that could happen, Rekieta visited the Kino Casino on their second episode, January 21st, 2022, in order to tell them the real story on why he cut ties with Ralph during their Fuck Ralph festival, where him and Andy Worski both told their personal experiences with Ralph.
I think the only person that we should not support the grift is Ethan Oliver Ralph. Fuck that guy. He's a piece of shit. We're all here to dab on him. Fuck Ralph. Because he's burned all of us here, you know?
Look, I think the biggest enemy of his grift is himself. That's the truth. I don't know that he needs anyone else's help to go after his grift. He's a guy who makes a habit of burning bridges with friends and with fans, and that is just, I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. That's his move, and if that's his power play, that's what he wants to do. Go for it, buddy. All yours.
Oh, Mr. Rekieta Esquire, sir, would you tell us how Mr. Ethan Oliver Ralph burned the bridge with you? How did it come to the point where he decided, you know what, this guy who's one of the most successful channels on YouTube right now, bringing in 10, sometimes 20,000 live viewers during these trials, bringing in huge amounts of donations, huge fan base. How did he decide it was a smart business decision to burn you and tell you to go fuck yourself? How did this come to be?
I'm sure it was something very serious. I'm sure it was like you hurt him, you maybe hit him with your car, made fun of his family. It was very serious, wasn't it?
It was. It was actually that son of a bitch Augie. It's his fault. It's his fault. He recorded the shard heard round the world, and someone brought it up to me in a super chat. So I shockingly do not religiously follow and watch Ethan Ralph. I don't have time to search his name as much as he does, so I have no idea what's going on. Someone blindsides me with a super chat. By the way, did you see that Ralph farted on his 24-hour stream? Here's the video. And so I watch it, and I give a pretty neutral reaction, right? It's really simple because I've done a 24-hour stream, and you're going to rip some bangers, man, because you're eating shitty fast food that someone brings you or whatever. You're sitting there forever, and you're going to bust one out. So I just kind of make a face because it's like, it's loud enough for the mic to pick it up. Probably felt good, but it's a little gross. You know, you're marinating for a bit. And that was it. And then I gave, a nice little friendly disclaimer. Hey, man, it's going to happen. I'm probably farted 4 or 5 times on the stream. I did. Not a big deal. That tipped him into oblivion for me. And the hellfire that came down from Ralph over that very mild not even a jab, but that very mild review of his moment was insane. And I'm sure you guys have seen his rant about shitting all over himself.
Yeah, he's I'll shit all over myself. What, you think I won't shit my pants for money? And then he goes on and he threatens to get you disbarred. He's like, he talked to PPP about my case. He was my lawyer. And he talked to PPP. Do you remember? He's threatening to get you disbarred. Yeah. What did you think of that? Did you just laugh?
I laughed, and I've talked about this a couple times. Let me put a disclaimer out there. The only things I'll talk about that Ralph and I discussed are the things that he made public. I never even mentioned that Ralph asked me anything because I figured, in light of his situation, where he was accused of spreading revenge pornography against his ex, that if I disclosed to you, for example, on that live show, that I couldn't talk about it because Ralph consulted me, that might lead people towards a negative inference about Ralph. And so I just kind of stonewalled you on the discussion. I said, I truly don't know what happened, and left it at that. And that's the deal. I cannot talk about what Ralph and I talked about because I have an obligation.
Mm-hmm.
So with that,
stonewall enough. It didn't do enough for him.
And I honestly don't know what I could have done more, because if I would have come out and said, hey, Ralph asked me about this, so I'm not going to talk about it, that would have maybe looked like he was looking for something people could draw negative inference. So I took the heat. I took the blame. I got called a gunt guard and a cuck and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. That's the ropes of being a lawyer, right? Sometimes you defend someone and other people don't like them, and they're gonna get heated on you or whatever. That's it. That's the burden you carry, and I was fine with it, absolutely fine. But for him to go off on that as if I should have taken a different approach just spoke to me of absolute short-sightedness on his part, because had he thought through it, or if he maybe fucking DM'd me and asked, hey, why'd you act like this with PPP? Because remember, this is a year ago.
Yeah,
a year prior to this, and he never said a word to me about that shit.
Well,
and I would have clearly explained, oh, by the way, yeah, here's why I addressed it that way. And that would have been that, but he never did.
Well, here's the thing: it's funny that we're talking about this right now as if this was the problem, right? Because it wasn't the problem. The problem was the shark video that triggered him. Now, you and I have the exact same story. I stayed at Ashton's house for a week. We made videos. He didn't say anything. He was fine. Oh, yeah, I'm good with it. Don't worry. I was like, are you sure, man? I'm good with it. And then one little thing triggers, 6 months ago, you hung out with Ashton. I'm like, what the fuck? He's bringing up that lawyer stuff like that matters at that moment. If it did, be a fucking man. I'm the Ralpha male. I got bigger balls than anyone. I got my bigger dick than all you motherfuckers. But yet you hold things in for a year and then trigger it, and then a fart triggers it. So we have the exact same story. In fact, that's how I messaged you for this. You said on my tweet, story sounds familiar, Andy.
And did I say that something was brewing earlier? Well, I should have said that a fuse was lit, and that was going to lead to one of my favorite Ralph moments of all time. On February 10th, Rekieta was on Blaze TV, and when they took super chats, one came up about Ralph in reference to Jack Murphy.
Ask Nick Rekieta about the cuck articles Ethan Ralph wrote.
Well, we're not here to shame Ethan Ralph.
Why is there so much cuck related stuff? What's going on?
That has to do with an individual who is on this show by the name of Jack Murphy, who may have sat in this chair, and there may be a super chat about the uncomfort of this chair. I don't know if that actually exists, but it might exist.
The next day, Ralph tweeted to Elijah Schaefer that Rekieta was a shyster lawyer and that Ralph would be in Dallas where Blaze TV was hosted soon. Even though Elijah said that he had no idea who Ralph was, Ralph said that he would wear a shirt of Rekieta wearing a dress on Elijah's show when he went on. And while I couldn't find a picture of Rekieta in a dress, I did find one of Rekieta mocking Twitch slots streaming in his underwear surrounded by plush toys. On March 28th, on a Rekieta livestream, the quartering let loose that Ralph was supposed to be ambushed by Rekieta on Blaze TV.
I didn't want to fuck up your timeline. I can dip too, but I didn't know if you were gonna do a gunt date or not.
Well, he was slated to go on the You Are Here podcast.
I heard with you, right?
1st. What?
Wasn't he supposed to go on with you?
Well, no, he was going on with Elijah Schaefer and Sydney Watson.
I feel like I thought you were gonna do a show with them.
No.
Why did okay.
Loser.
Nick, I feel like I'm not crazy. I feel like there was something.
You're not
said.
crazy.
Okay,
you're not
all right,
crazy.
Yeah,
I was.
Yeah,
it was supposed to be a surprise.
Yeah.
Nothing happened.
Oh, I accidentally. Okay, shit. Okay.
But he didn't go.
Nice.
I don't think he knew that I was going to be on there. It was,
whoops.
Who are you talking about?
But Ralph had earlier jumped ship before he even caught wind of the plan. This did two things. First, it justified Ralph in his head for ditching going on the live show with Elijah Schaefer. And second, that Elijah was also now going to be a life enemy. On the next day, Ralph made a video addressing the situation where he accused Elijah of a few things.
Rekieta went on his show in January. Obviously, Rekieta used to be I would say friend, associate at least, who came on the show all the time. We had a falling out. I won't get into all that. I think some of you already know about it, so I won't get into it. Anyway, he went on Schaefer's show, and I guess somebody sent in a super chat or something. Anyway, he went on a rant trashing me, basically. I heard about it because somebody tagged me on Twitter and said, "Hey, Ralph, what's going on, man? This guy trashed you on." You know how it goes. Some of you do anyway. And so I was like, oh, hey, fuck this. You should let me come on your show, basically. And so he did. He's like, yeah, that's cool. I'd love to have you on. He's like, what day is you going to be here? I told him. We ended up setting up the day. He asked me that Thursday or Friday. And Friday was April 1st. So naturally I said, well, it has to be April 1st just for laughs. Again, my event's on April 2nd. But it's April Fool's Day, right? So this has to be the day that we do it. And so for many reasons, one of the reasons is I thought something might come up to derail it. And I'll get into what has come up to derail it here in a bit. But anyway, so we picked April 1st. We started getting closer to the day, obviously. The other day, I was like, man, it's just not feeling right. You know what I mean? Like, it's just something about this is not feeling up to par. Like, there's some kind of, I don't know, man. I've been in this for a while, and it just didn't feel like an up and up interview. Like, it seemed to be, there seemed to be something lurking there, and I don't know why, but I just had that feeling. I was talking with May, and I even her whole family was there, and I was like, man, this thing just doesn't feel right. Like this thing is not feeling right. I think I'm gonna cancel.
So what do you think Ralph the Rage Pig did? Did he chill out until his bowling tournament? Or did he go scorched earth on Blaze TV? Well, the obvious answer is easy. He went on his Rage Pig jihad and went all out.
You like that shit, man? I got a gang of that shit, man. I tell you what, man. My man on the guitar. Hey, everybody try to run the mic. I tell you all these motherfuckers.
Am I being asked to leave? I'm being asked on behalf of the Blaze. You're asking
Cold 45, 2 zigzags. Baby, that's all I need. We can go to the bar at the dark, smoke that tumbleweed.
If ever engaged in homosexual acts, we can take our turns.
Singing them dirty rap songs. Stop and hit the bar like Cheech and Chong. Hit a hot come.
And I gotta say, Sydney, I am so excited. I'm at a new level in my career. I am so proud of myself. I now have paparazzi that follow me around that are just as disgusting as ugly as the paparazzi I left in LA, but they're now in Texas.
You're a big deal then. One could say the biggest deal.
I'm a deal. They're big, but I am a big deal.
Well, I mean, I'm impressed that you've reached this new height in your career. Mm-hmm. Congratulations. I think that a toast is in order. I'm noticing a distinct lack of. Okay.
I do have a little bit of whiskey here.
Ralph was supposed to go onto the show on April 1st, but canceled due to something feeling off. Now that Ralph knew the plan, he decided that he wanted back on. This time, Ralph wasn't just hollering on the kill stream. No, this time, he took the fight straight to Blaze TV studios in Austin, Texas. Ralph went to Blaze Studios and tried to get in after Elijah literally just walked right past him.
Elijah, what's up, brother? How's it going, man? Hey, what's up, man?
Good afternoon.
How you doing? I heard your producer wouldn't let me in, man.
Yep.
What's the deal? They said y'all weren't going to be talking about me tonight. Is that true? Have you ever engaged in homosexual acts with men, Elijah?
then protested outside the building before he soon got kicked off the property, even arguing with the security guard.
Wow.
Did you need help, sir?
Yeah, they had me booked for the show today.
Okay, so is there anything I can help you with now?
Well, ask them if they're gonna let me in, I guess.
Well, they don't have you booked anymore then.
Well, are you gonna ask them, or do you know?
I don't know anything.
Well, ask them for me.
They're gone.
Are they saying?
Huh?
Well, who can you call?
As far as what?
Well, I mean, is it cool if I hang out in the parking lot and stream, or are y'all gonna, should I leave the property? Is that what I mean?
It is private property if you have no reason.
Am I being asked to leave?
Yes, sir.
I'm being asked, on behalf of the Blaze, you're asking me to leave the property.
Yes, sir. If you have no business, do you have business being here?
Well, I was invited to the show, yeah.
Okay, so are you invited or are you not invited?
I am invited to the show.
Okay, who's your contact?
Elijah Schaefer personally invited me to the show, actually.
Okay, then how can we walk past?
Well, because there's been some friction, I guess, around my appearance.
Okay, so you're not invited anymore.
I don't know if that's true, actually.
Okay, well...
Well, just ask him.
Well, they haven't told me anything.
Yeah.
They haven't told me
Well, you don't seem to know anything, that's what I'm saying.
I know enough to know if you don't have any business being here, they would have allowed you in. So because...
Why didn't you try to come in?
Yes, but as you saw, he walked past you. So
you're going to call the police if I don't leave?
You will be trespassed, yes.
You will call, the Blaze will call the police and they won't let me into the studio, that's what you're telling me.
I will call the police.
Okay.
And have you trespassed.
While in the meantime, Rekieta at one point of the stream answered a super chat from Ralph's greatest foe, Jim, aka Mr. Metoker.
This is from Mr. Metoker. Okay, Mr. Metoker says, question for your guest. I think that's me, but maybe Jorge.
Okay,
maybe, let's do it. Jorge.
My neighbor has a pet hog, and it hollers really loud. Is that legal?
That's a good question.
It's the first part of the question. There's a follow-up, but...
I'll say yes.
So, okay, so a hollering hog is legal.
Fuck, they're gonna get me with some inside joke.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why it's like...
No, stop it. There's no... He follows up, he says, I'm pretty sure that at a certain decibel level, it is legally considered a rage pig and a public nuisance. What say you to that?
I mean, seriously, stop. George, you're laughing and I don't like this.
Okay, sorry. I don't want to be a bigot.
Why are we talking about Rosie O'Donnell? Stop. This is a very big question about rage pig. Please go.
Then I guess at a certain decimal it would be illegal.
Right, it's a public nuisance because it interferes.
Disturb the peace.
So the public nuisance standard is, does it interfere with your quiet enjoyment of your property, right?
Yes.
So if your neighbor has a giant hog that is hollering, eventually it involves your quiet enjoyment, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ralph left after a trespassing threat for good reason. The man was on probation as a felon and had his bowling stream the very next day where he was originally going to get married. On April 7th, on Rekieta's livestream, Elijah explained the entire situation about Ralph.
Offered you show, then you pretended to call out of the show because you had a kid, which you sold tickets to your own wedding. You sold price tickets and actually try to make profit off your wedding so no one give a fuck about your life. And you knew that you didn't want to go on a show because you said that they trapped me. Think about this. Ready for this? What if someone said they ambushed a pig? It's a pig. They ambushed for what? You know what you have to stand for. What if you're a pedophile, though? A fucking rage porn person. And so you were afraid to go on the internet because you found out that the people you asked to go on their show suddenly found out that you actually are a sex offender. So you call out pretending that you called out for your kid. And then ready for this? What if this would be so crazy? You were so busy with your kid and you called out because your kid, but you still showed up to their work, literally seething from COPD-related stress. with a boost mode you stole from the 2020 riot, trying to get an internet connection to get the whole thing on camera. Show up on a dude pulling up like a boss in his fucking dope car, and you can't even get the thing to render in real time online. Get asked to leave like a fucking moron. Leave and think you won.
Dude,
that's crazy.
Actually, Elijah, I look back at it and I realize that you are the coward.
On the very same day, Ralph talked about Rekieta's wife once again.
I met her a couple times. I mean, maybe she wanted a piece of Ralph, man. I'm not sure, but
Jesus Christ, Ralph.
I mean, I'm not sure, Dingo. Look, I'm not sure. You know how virile I am. You know how virile I am, and the big Ralph Boski doesn't shoot any blanks, and everybody knows that for a fact. And
honestly, as fun as it would be to keep going on about Ralph versus his own little Riddler, knowing Ralph, I'm sure that after he leaves Mexico, he's going to try and do something big again. And I gotta leave room for another video. I'm sorry about how long this video took, but if you want more Denim content, come check out my podcast Island Time, where me and my friends Unjust Josh and Dr. Big Mac upload once a week. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you soon.